on my young, there's some savages running your trap, at you up for them packages. Rob you for bricks, finesse you for pounds. Fuck all that talking, they laying you down. Gotta teach niggas about playing around. Cartel connected, you better respect it. Fuck up the paper, send you to your maker, they laying you 6 feet.
What is up, everyone? Mr. Octagonal here from Octagonal Sports /Reacts. If you're not subbed, please sub. We're 2 subscribers away. I know I keep saying it, but we're so freaking close to 100. So this is the final division, I could not get that out, for our 2018 NFL draft grades, and it is the NFC North, which certainly holds a big place in my heart, and it also gives me a lot of hatred because my team, the Lions, aren't great, and there are some historically better teams in this division, most notably the Green Bay Packers. So I'm usually pretty biased in a way, not just with giving the Lions a pretty high grade, but giving like the Bears and the Packers lower grades. I don't hate the Vikings, but the Bears and the Packers. So we're going to start off with Chicago Bears, and I would say as I was biased, I think the Bears deserve an A, honestly. I think the Bears had one of the best drafts, probably a top 3 or 4. The Broncos are my number 1, Giants are my number 2, and probably the Bears at number 3. Maybe you could make a case for the Dolphins to be ahead of the Bears. I'm not sure. Both the 8th pick, they took Roquan Smith, a linebacker from Georgia. He can play outside and inside. I view him more as an inside, but I do think he'll play outside starting off. They do have Leonard Floyd at outside linebacker, but they did just lose Pernell McPhee, and they already have Danny Trevathan and Jarrell Freeman. And while I don't think Trevathan and Freeman are going to be there long term, I do think they're probably both going to start. Actually, I don't know if Jarrell Freeman's still on their team. I think it might be in Baltimore or something. I don't know if Jarrell Freeman's still on. But either way, he can play either positions. He's, in my opinion, probably a top 5 talent. He is a really, really, really good pick. Round 2, James Daniels. I think he's a first-round talent. I think he's a little bit better than Frank Ragnow, to be honest. They have Cody Whitehair, so center isn't a huge need. But I think Daniels or Whitehair, probably Cody Whitehair, could move to guard because they both are starting caliber talent. Anthony Miller in round 3 is also a nice pick, getting some more receivers for Trubisky, which he didn't really have any last year, and now he has a few with Allen Robinson, Trey Burton, and some other good players. Next up is going to be the Minnesota Vikings. I think I gave them a little bit too low of a grade, even though I don't really hate them. I don't know why, I just don't hate the Vikings. Mike Hughes in round 1 is nice value and someone in need, with Terrence Newman moving into a retirement home within the next 5 years. So essentially, Terrence Newman is obviously not in their future. He's pretty much a grandpa at this point. But this probably means we're going to give up on former second-round pick Mackenzie Alexander. I honestly liked Mackenzie Alexander coming out of college. Someone who does like Clemson. I do really like Clemson. My mom went to Clemson, so I'm not a bandwagon for liking Oregon and Clemson. Just get that straight. Brian O'Neill in round 2 I think makes perfect sense. I would say he's an early second-round talent, and they really need an offensive line. Their offensive tackles last year were Riley Reiff and Mike Remmers, and while Riley Reiff wasn't that bad, they still need an offensive tackle because other than last year, Riley Reiff sucks. He is absolutely atrocious. Other than that, kicker Daniel Carlson I think is a solid pick, as Kai Forbath isn't great. Next up, we got my squad, the Detroit 0-16 Lions back in 08. I don't know. Why did I even bring that up? Like, why would I bring up a bad memory about my team? Anyway, Frank Ragnow in round 1 is interesting. I think there were more positions of need that made more sense, like Harold Landry and Darius Geis, but both slipped. And I'm not an executive in a front office, so I don't know all this stuff, especially Geis slipping. Landry, I think, maybe could have made sense to, like, trade up for him, because the first defensive lineman we took was Deshaun Hand in round 4. Ragnow's certainly going to start day 1 with the loss of Travis Swanson. He's going to play either guard or center, and then Graham Glasgow will play guard or center. Both Glasgow and Ragnow will start. It's just a matter of where they're both going to play. I think we should play Ragnow at center and Glasgow at guard, as Ragnow is more of a natural center and Glasgow is more of a natural guard. Or that's where he's played for us the first 2 years of his career, so I just think it makes more sense. No one on this team can rush for 100 yards in a game. The last one was Reggie Bush, remember when he was on the Lions? And Kerryon Johnson has a very good chance of being this team's long-term back. I think he's the best running back on the board at the time, other than Darius Geisen with the whole slipping thing. I think Kerryon Johnson makes sense, as Bob Quinn does not like to take players who have off-the-field concerns. That's why they didn't take Reuben Foster last year. Then again, our coach might be a sexual predator, to be determined. The Tejon Hand trade was a bad deal because we traded a third-round pick next year, and we took defensive line, which should have been addressed day 1 or day 2. Tyrell Crosby, go Ducks, in the 5th round, I think is a good value pick, and somewhat fits a position of need. Last but not least, we have the Green Bay Packers, my tied for least favorite team with the New England Patriots. Patriots. Patriots fans triggered. Cornerback is such a huge need for them, as they've been so desperate they've had to play safeties like Demarius Randall, who is on the Browns now, and Quentin Rollins, who are natural safeties at corner. They got Kevin King last year, who wasn't really that good last year, but he is young, he has potential, and they doubled up on him in the first 2 rounds with Jair Alexander and Josh Jackson, who I think are both first-round talents. I honestly think Josh Jackson's a little better than Jair Alexander, and that's not saying that Jair Alexander's bad by any means. I just think Josh Jackson was one of the biggest steals of this draft class, and makes me sad. And Jair Alexander, I think, is a really good player. In the 6th round, Equanimeous St. Brown is really interesting. 3rd round talent who randomly slipped. Apparently has like some high maintenance or petty issue, which I think is why Darius Geis slipped, which I don't really think that's a big deal. Like Reuben Foster off the field stuff, like running into the law, that makes sense why they'd slip, but like Darius Geis, St. Brown, they don't have run-ins with the law, or at least I don't think St. Brown has ever had a run-in with the law. I know Darius Geis hasn't. This was sort of similar in a way to Malachi Dupree last year, but St. Brown's a little bit better. Dupree was also drafted by the Packers and did nothing. So there's a very solid chance that Equanimeous St. Brown will do nothing other than have a sick name. So I hope you guys enjoyed. My draft grades for all 8 divisions. Let's see if I'm right. Last year I did pretty good, most notably with the Saints, giving them an A+. So that's it for me. Now we're going to be pretty much focused on the NBA draft, which is about a month away. And of course we're not going to have our pick. I'll probably have a video related to the draft lottery, which I think is Tuesday. And that's also the day that the Pistons are probably going to get screwed unless we get a top 3 pick somehow. So hope you all enjoyed. Hit the like, subscribe. Peace.